So we can begin. And now we are looking at our third decision. Yesterday we looked at 2. So today we look at a decision known as drop or retain. Drop or retain. Now some people call them continue or discontinue decision. Continue or discontinue decision. Now, I don't know whether in your life you have ever thought of dropping something or someone. Have you ever thought of dropping something or someone? Or have you ever been dropped? Dropping, eh? What made you think that you need to drop?
It was not benefiting.
Yeah, it was not benefiting. So there are 2 main reasons why we think of dropping or retaining. Eh? One is when you assess the benefits that you are getting and you realize they are not as per the expectations. So in business, the benefits are measured in terms of profits. So if a product or a department is not making profits, then we start thinking of dropping or retaining. The second reason is where things have been okay, but recently you have come across a new option. You have come across a new person who you think is better than the current one. So in that case, then you think of changing, or even like what happens in our jobs. You have been okay with your job, but of late you have found another job that appears better. So those are the 2 main reasons. Now, in making these decisions, the critical thing is to compare what are the total costs if I drop, or what are the total results if I drop, and what are the total results if I retain. So that is the guiding thing. Again, in the interest of time, let me not get into a lot of details. But we had this question of May 2017. Question of May 2017. May 2017. Question number 4B. May 2017. Question number 4B. And I wish to read as we work it out, again in the interest of time. BRAC Limited manufactures 3 products, namely A, B, C. The management for the coming years, we have the product, we have the sales units, we have the revenues, we have the cost of material, labor, overhead, total costs. The management is concerned about the loss on product A. It is considering ceasing its production and switching the spare capacity of 100,000 units to product C. Additional information is that all units produced are sold. Number 2, 25% of labor cost for each product is fixed in nature. Haya, sasa nataka tutasema workings, Workings. Number 1, labor costs. Now for the labor costs, we have the product here. We're going to have the product A, product B, and product C. Then we have the fixed. We are told 25% of it is is fixed in nature. So unarudi hapo juu unaangalia if our figures are in thousands. A iko na 400. So 400 times 0.25. B is 320 multiplied by 0.25. C is 160 multiplied by 0.25. 40. I have variable. You want to know the variable amount. You want to know the variable amount, 400 minus the fixed. That will be 300. Yeah? Then this will be 320 minus 310. That will give us what? 240. Then 160 minus 40. That will give us what? 120. Nataka tuongeze another column. Hope you still have space there. Per unit. Per unit. And this is the variable per unit. The variable per unit. The variable per unit. This is 300. You divide by, ukiangalia hapo juu, the units of A, they are 100. So you divide by 100, that will give you 3. Then, huyu mwingine ni 240. You divide by 120, that gives us 2 shillings. The next one is 120. You divide by 80, that gives us 1.5.
Yes.
1.5. Okay. The next one is fixed administration overheads of 900,000 in total have been apportioned to each product on the basis of units sold and are included in the overheads above. All other overhead costs are variable in nature. So we go now to overhead costs. I'll be very fast because I want to run. We could also get this total. Give me the total of the fixed. 220. Total. And the total variable. 680. Done. Okay, so the second working. The second working that we require is on overheads. Overhead costs. Now we are told that overheads, 900 of them are apportioned to on the basis of units sold. So we first of all need to get fixed overhead absorption rates. So the fixed overhead absorption rate is the amount is 900,000. Now this 900,000 is being shared on a number of units. So this is 100 plus 120 plus 80. That is the base. So ndio tujue the OER. Yes, that is shillings 3 per unit. That is per unit. So now we will have the product here. product A, B, and C. Then we shall have the total. Napanga tu venye tumepanga ya riba. Aya, sasa tulete the fixed. So the fixed, tutakuwa nachukua this number of units, 100, na multiply na ile tumepata per unit. Aya, tena hii ingine, unachukua 120, na multiply na 3. That gives us 360. Then this 80 multiplied by 3, you get 240. Check whether they go back to 900.
Yes.
Okay. Kuja kwa variable. Yesterday I told you when you want to separate total costs, you use which method? IRO. But you can see the other instances you can be directed to use other approaches. Like now, what we are doing here, we are separating the total, the fixed from the variable, but you're not using IRO. And we are following the guidelines the question has given. But in absence of such, we always use the IRO. So sasa, ukiangalia A ilikuwa imepewa 650. So uking'oa 300, kumaanisha the variable is 350. Haya, huyu mwingine B alikuwa amepewa 600. So ukitoa 360, that means we have 240. Then we have 360 minus 240. That means we have 120. Give me the total of that. 710. Let's get per unit for the variable ones. Per unit for the variable ones. So the 350 divided by 100. That gives us 3.5. 240. You divide by 120, that is 2. 120, you divide by 80, that is giving us 1.5. Information number 4, nasema ceasing production of product A would eliminate a fixed labor charge associated with it in 1/6 of the fixed administration overheads apportioned to product A. Still at the back because it's still overheads. You can just get a 6th here, even without labeling, a 6th of the overheads apportioned to A. So this is 300. That would be 50. That would be 50. The next one, inasema increasing the production of product C by 100,000 units would mean that the fixed labor costs associated with it double. So if we are going to double, variable labor cost would rise by, so we can still have like, that was working number 2. Number 3, we can have working for product C. New fixed labor costs. New fixed labor costs. Enda pale tulikuwa tumefanya working za labor cost. C ilikuwa imepata ngapi? Fixed? 40. Is it?
Fixed.
Fixed, eh? Okay, so 40 you multiply by 2, so that would be 80, because we are told it will double. And then variable labor cost would rise by unit labor costs, or new unit labor costs. New unit labor costs. When we divide it by unit, see the gapi?
1.5.
1.5. So say 1.5, you multiply by 1.2. You do it for 1 unit. You have what?
1.8.
1.8. 1.8. The next thing to Nabiwa, the selling price would increase by so we have current selling price. Current selling price. Current selling price is unaangalia pale kwa revenue. We are currently making a revenue of 880 for product C. So if you divide by 8 the units that have been sold, you're able to know the selling price currently in Ngapi? 11. So the new selling price, tunaambiwa it will have to come down by 1.5. So it will be 11 minus 1.5. That must be 9.5. Still under that, there is something else to report to the SOMA area, although we never captured it. New units. Huko juu, after the profit and loss line, tunaambiwa the management is concerned about the loss on product A, and it is considering ceasing its production and switching the spare capacity of 100 units to product C. So that means C will have the current 80 plus 0 zinaletwa as 100. So that will be 100 what? 8. So those will be the new units. Okay. So with that, I think we have worked out the various necessary requirements. So what we are going to do is now to have income statements. Income statements. When tulikuwa tunaulizwa, we decide whether they should drop product A when product A is retained. Income statement when product A is retained. I have told you we work with totals. So we are going to say revenue. If we retain A, tutakuwa na hii revenue ya 1500, na hii revenue ya 1440, na hii revenue ya 880.
That's 820.
820. Then you say less variable costs. Anytime you are in the world of decision making, you must be able to separate costs on a variable and a fixed. So if we start with the variable, there is material. Now material, we have the 500 for A, we have the 480 for B, and we have the 240. Huyo mwingine ni labor. So utarudi kwa ile working tulikuwa nayo, niambie total ya variable labor tulikuwa tumepata 680. Huyo mwingine anaitwa overhead. Overhead, the variable tulikuwa tumepata total 710. Now with those ones, you get a figure called contribution. You get a figure called contribution. Okay. Then you say less fixed costs. Now fixed costs, you can number one, labor. So niambie kule kwa working, labor tulikuwa tumepata total ya 20. Alafu kuna overheads 900. So that gives us the net profit. 90. Yeah. So that is the profit. If you have retained products, but you can see individually is making a loss. Can you see that? Yeah, it's making a loss. Let's now look at what happens if you retain, if you drop A. Income statements. Income statements when product A is dropped. Income statement when product A is dropped. So we are going to begin again with revenue. And the revenue, again, here 1500 is not there because A is not there. But the 1440 for B equal. Then for C, because things have changed, the selling price of C, tumepata sasa itakuwa 9.5. Now the number of units for C, tumepata zitakuwa 180. So that will be the revenue that will come from C. 9.5 times 180. 1710. After umeadd, ongeza hiyo, that one. Yeah. Then you say less variable costs. Variable costs. So we start with material. Material, this one of 500 is not there, but here for 88 is there, for B. Then for C, what will happen is this, when the number of units, I told you yesterday, a cost is called variable if it changes as the number of units change, if the total amount changes, but the per unit remains the same. Now, this 240 was when we had 80 units of C. But now we are operating with how many units of C? Yeah, so lazima kwanza tuende tutafute per unit, like we did with the others that we had their workings. Now for material to find because we do not have a working for it. So it is time now to get per unit of it. So itakuwa 240, kwanza you divide by what? 80. Here itatupea the per unit currently. Sasa una multiply that the new number of units of C. Huh?
1020.
1020. Kuja kwa labor. Labor for A is not there, but for B is there, 320. Plus, tulikuwa tumefanya new unit labor cost ya product C. Ile tumeongeza na 20%. Kapata inakuja? Sasa hiyo 1.8 ndio utatumia multiply na this number of units, 180. $644. Then we have overheads. Overheads here ukirudi kwa working ya overhead si kwa imepata variable ya no sorry B, we need B 240. Alafu C ipata per unit variable overhead of the per unit 1.5. So 1.5 times 180. $510. So with that, you can get the contribution. $976. You now say less fixed costs. Tuanze na labor. Now tulikuwa tumefahamishwa by information 4 that if you stop production of A, even the fixed labor cost that was associated with it will go. So that means tutabaki na fixed labor cost ya B. Ikuwa ngapi? 80. Alafu kuna ya C, na C tumefanya new working, new fixed cost for C. Imekuja 80 again, so that will be 160. Haya, huyu mwingine ni overheads. Overheads, we are already told the one thing that will go is just a fifth of the one that is associated with with A. So the fixed overhead zote zilikuwa 900. Unakumbuka jana kuna swali tulifanya tukasema the fixed overheads are the same. when we had 50% and when we had 100. So kama hatugeambiwa these ones are changing, hiyo toto yote ya fixed tugeleta hapa na hata hii toto tugeleta hapa. Kama hatugeambiwa. But now we have been given some instructions on how they are changing. So hii tumeambiwa the only thing that will disappear is the 1/6, which we had gotten as rate. So that one you rest. Ndio unapata 850. Unapata 850. So with that, you get net profit. Get net profit.
Loss of 34.
Loss of 34. Now, compare those two net profits. Then your device, should they drop or they should retain? They should retain product A. Why? It's always good to give the reason. Why?
They intend the profit to still be higher.
Yeah, the profit is higher. Yeah, they should retain because the profit is higher than when you drop. That's the reality of life. You should be very slow to drop, but not too slow to suffer. That's why even in marriages, those the ones who are married, you will be advised to go slow in case you are thinking of running away or chasing. But not, you remain until you suffer. Even when you are changing jobs, you also need to be very careful, don't just change. Yeah. Actually, we normally advise, even when you are changing friends, don't be very quick to let them know that you are dropping. You can drop them technically. Kama tumekuwa marafiki na hunitaki, don't be very quick to let me know hunitaki. Drop me technically. Technically would be, for example, if we normally meet at a particular place, you start now becoming unavailable. So mi nitafikirianga ni venye uko busy. Sitakuwa nafikiria kubaya. Yeah. Because you again never know what had brought us together tomorrow can still make us to come together. Is that so? Yes. So hata kama leo nimekukosea, na uwezekano kesho unaweza nihitaji. So kama sasa leo umenikemea kabisa tukakosana, kesho ukinihitaji it will be very difficult. So it's advisable in rules of relationships. Don't be very quick to let people know that you have dropped. Not unless now it is inevitable. But lazima wajue toka leo things have changed. So that's why you can see. But I'm not saying that hautapata swali nasema you drop. I'm only saying, okay, let's look for another. As I look for another question, if you look at your notes, you see the non-monetary factors to consider. When you want to drop something, you need to look at one, what is the effect of fixed costs? For example, that's a Destiny imefunga hii class ya set 4 in the morning. How does that affect our fixed costs? It has no effect because hatutaenda kuambia hard sasa hatufunzi ya morning. Yeah. But like the way we dropped 80 Ds, That had an impact on fixed cost because we needed to shift from the other side. We now concentrate on this side. The other thing that you need to check is what is the effect on the staff morale. When you drop, how are people going to react? I remember beginning of this semester when we dropped the ATDs, there were bitter complaints from teachers because it meant people have lost what? Jobs. Yeah. So how do people react when you drop? You need to be considerate. And they even say hata hii umebakisha kufanya. That now compounds the crisis. The other thing is what impact are you sending to the customers? Wale wanafunzi wa CPA walibaki, how did that affect them? Did they see like this college is coming to an end? Did they see like hata kesho wanaweza funga yetu? How is it going to affect you? Those are things you need to really check. You also need to look at the future possibilities. Today, the product could be making losses, but tomorrow does it have the possibility of making profits? And it's very, very important whenever anyone comes your way for what kind of a relationship, don't look at the current status, look at the future. Yeah. Future value, you did this FM the other day, and you were told that the value of an asset is in the future cash flows, not the present. So if I were to come your way for a relationship, as you decide to say yes or no, don't look at my current status, look at the future. And those of us who are married should know this better. By the time you are getting married, if we were to make a decision based on that, maybe we would not have made it. But down the line, things have changed for good. We are now much better. We are now much better. Yeah. And that's what we tell young girls who are not yet married. When a young boy comes your way and he has no money, don't decline the offer and go to the Kimanis who have money. The Kimanis may not have a lot of future with you. They are already fixed elsewhere. Yeah. So those are some of the factors you consider. Sasa, tuangalie hii inaitwa November 2016. Now, hiyo sasa, I think we need to specify which decision is that. We are going to make now what we call make or buy. Make or buy decision. That's the fourth decision, make or buy decision. And this is a decision that we make quite often. A very good example is food. You may decide, do I eat in the house? Rather, do I make food in the house? Ama nitapitia kwa hoteli nikule. That's a make or buy decision. So there is this question of November 2016. Although it combines two of them. November 2016. Question 3C. Or even over the weekend, kama saa hii weekend, you have been busy the whole week. Nataka kuosha manguo ama kuosha nyumba. Do you do it by yourself? Ama tafuta mtu hapo ukuje umlipe? Yeah. Even the issue of the house guard that you have is a case of make or buy. Even right now here is a case of make or buy. Ukienda library ujisomee. Si kukuja kusomeshwa. So now that tumeamua kukuja kusomeshwa, what you are doing is what? Buying. So what has made you to do that? What we normally do, you simply compare what is the cost of nikijisomea versus the cost of nikienda class. And not only the cost, what are the benefits? Like now in this case ya kujisomea, what are the chances that nikijisomea napita na nikisomeshwa ninapita, and how even easy it will be. Yeah, those kind of things. So once again, I want to read as we try to save time. If we are there, Labor Limited manufactures a range of products. The company absorbs production overheads using a rate of 200 of direct wages. The rate was calculated from the following budgeted figures. I want to just remind you some things. So the workings, workings. One, overhead rates. Overhead absorption rates. Overhead absorption rates. Overhead absorption rates. I'm just going to remind you. If you get the variable overhead absorption rates, utachukua the variable overheads, which are 6,400. You divide by the direct labor, which is 8,000. Or we can multiply by 100. Because they have given it as a percentage. %. I have fixed overhead absorption rates. It is 9,600. You divide by 8,000 times 100. $120. So total overhead absorption rate itakuwa hii 6,400 plus hii 9,600. You divide by 8,000. So times 100. So first of all, you combine those overheads. Then you divide by 8,000 times 100. $200. So that is how this 200% has been arrived at. You America plus this, you divide by, and you could also get it like this: the variable this plus this. Inakuja 200. Tena wanaendelea kusema problem 1, the normal selling price per unit of product XM is 220. While the unit production cost is as follows. We have the raw materials, the direct labor, the variable overheads. I want to show you how that cost has been computed. Absorbed overheads. Absorbed overheads or overhead costs. If you want to get the variable, it is going to be this 80%, so the 0.8. The 80% na multiply na labor. Now na labor is 40. For that product. So that gives you what? 32. If you want to get the fixed, it is 1.2 times 40. Hmm? 48. If you want to get the total, it is 2 times 40. So for them to get your 80, wamesema 200% of the 40, ndio wakapata hii. Which now this one total, you can break it into 2. Here fixed, which is 48, and here variable, which is 32. There is a possibility of supplying a special order for 2,000 units of product XM at 160. If the order is accepted, the normal budget sales will not be affected and the company has necessary capacity to produce the additional units. Problem 2, the cost of making component B, which forms part of product Y, is given below. So we are given that. Sasa hiyo hatutafanya because now tunaelewa. Hiyo 160, it is 200% of what? Hiyo 160, it is 200% of 80. Si ni labor? Si tunatumia labor? Sasa tunaelewa hiyo. Kosa. Na hiyo umeelewa? It's the same thing. The same thing. Those percentages hizi tumepata hapa ndio na multiply na labor cost. Sasa ndio nauliza hiyo 160 wameipata as 200% of what? How much is labor? Yes. We can as well break that one like when tumefanya hivi. But these ones ninafanya tu kuonyesha how they have been arrived at. They're not really a major part of our workings. So now advice of the management on whether to accept. So kama tushaelewa hiyo, let us now provide our answers. Now problem 1 is a case of special pricing decision. Special pricing decision, which we did yesterday. Special pricing decision. So you bring raw materials. Raw materials, we are told it is what? It is 80, the variable cost. We bring direct labor. It's also a relevant cost of 40. Then overheads. Sasa hii overheads, utatumia ile rate tumepata ya variable overheads. Tumesema ni 80%, So it is 80% of this 40, which is that 2. So that now you get what we call relevant stroke marginal costs. Relevant stroke marginal cost or the variable cost or the direct. They have very many words. 152. Special price. Special price. Special price, these guys, they are saying they will put a price of what? 160. They are ready to pay us 160. So, what decision do you make? Do we accept or do we reject the offer? Yeah, we should accept. The special price is higher. The costs. So problem 2. Now problem 2 is a case of make or buy. Now this make or buy, you by the way, inaitwa outsourcing. Outsourcing decision. It is also very simple. You simply compare the cost of buying vis-a-vis the cost of making the product in-house. Sasa, Problem 2, raw materials. Raw materials is 40. Direct labor is 80. Overheads, tulisema ni 80% of 80, the direct labor, because you're only capturing the variable. $64. So if you work that, you get now the relevant stroke marginal costs. One? 184. This one we needed to have baptized it kidogo of making. Don't know whether you have space. If you decide to make, those are the relevant costs. You sasa hapa tulete external purchase costs. External purchase cost. So these guys are selling themselves to us at what? $200. Sell to us at 200. So if they are selling to us at 200, what decision do you make? You should make the product. In Tegenezea, it is costing you 184. But there are several other things that you need to bring on board. Eh? One is the expertise. Naona kama ungeamua kujisomea hii set 4, the cost would have been 0. But ulipokuja Destiny, ukalipa 20 what? 1,000. 0 others. What made you do this? And I don't think you have a lot of money to misuse. The expertise, yeah. When something is being done by an expert, one, it takes a shorter time. Number two, the quality comes out high. You can imagine kama sasa leo ungeambiwa uende utafute vitabu usomee make or buy decision. It will take you a lot of time. But myself, I have already invested that time. Nimejua what is relevant for you. So I just come and give you a few things and you go knowing how to make or buy decision. So that's a factor you need to check. Something else you need to check is what impact will you send to your workers? At least for you, I know you're married. If your husband was to be coming home every evening, amebeba chakula from the hotel, nice hotel, good food, na amekuja na zile zinaitwa disposable plates. So nyinyi ni kukula, hata hakuna kuosha masahani, naeka tu kwa ndafi. And he had money to do that. Would you encourage? Because I don't know your status, but whatever status, would you encourage? Why?
I can cook.
Yes, he knows you can cook.
The same money.
No, one person iko. And he even says, I know you have been working. Unakia asubuhi hadi morning class, after class ukakimbia kazini. So by evening umechoka. Watoto ndio hawa wanastahili kusaidiwa homework. So umechoka. Would you encourage? One of the reasons why you encourage is not even about saving. It's not even about that you know how to cook. But there is one thing that you find. Huyu mtu akienda kununua chakula nje, they are telling you that you are not that good. And none of us would want to be told that we are not. We all suffer from what we call best syndrome. Best syndrome ni kale ka feeling kanajifanya ujisikie you are the best. If you are a teacher like me, nafikiria you are the only good teacher wa MA. All the others are quacked. If you are a man, you think you are the most handsome. Every girl is after you. If you are a girl, you think you are the most beautiful. Every man is after you. So it's called best syndrome. Now, what do you think? Is it bad? Kujisikia uko sawa, is it bad? Sarah?
If you think, no, it's not bad, but can be still bad. Because you won't know. Then every time you think you are the best, you won't run.
Okay, you won't run. Tufosa, what do you think? Kujisikia uko sawa, ni wewe tu.
Can cause you a lot of things.
It can cost you a lot of things. So unataka ukae bila kujisikia you are the best.
No. Yeah. At a certain level.
Yeah, in caution,
Yes.
So that you don't lose, so that you're also able to learn. But by and large, you must start any relationship or anywhere you go. You start by feeling that you are what? You are best. When you are dealing with anyone for a relationship, as you deal with them, let them know that you are the best. Don't present to them as yourself to them as your second choice or the favorite choice. Let them know that you are their first choice. And they'll for sure take you as their first choice. Because how you present yourself is how we take you. You can imagine this morning if I came and told you tunasoma make or buy decision, lakini ni kama sijaelewa. Alafu nikwambia andika sentence 1. Then tukishamaliza nikwambie rap hata sio hivyo. Nyingine hata si hivyo. Would you continue listening to me? But the way nimekuja kwa hii class, hata nimekuja bila notes, and I'm just talking. You people, you have believed that I know what I'm doing. And you are so convinced mpaka mnaandika. And I don't know whether you will go later on to the library to confirm whether what I taught you. All that is coming because of how I presented myself as a person who is knowing. So that is very good. However, as we have said, one, it may not always be true. You may not always be the best there is. Yeah. Again, when you go thinking you are the best, you limit yourself. You may not learn new things. Haya, sasa mimi nafikiria at that point, you have gotten the basic concept of decision making. And the basic concept, one, is to be able to separate the costs, the variables from the fixed. Yeah. Then you know, kuja kwa special pricing, what do we check? Kuja kwa make or buy, what do we check? Kuja kwa drop or retain, what do we check? Na hiyo ingine tulikuwa tumeita product mix. So those are the 4 decisions that we have. So hiyo ingine inaitangwa further processing, which you did in process costing. Like now is one number 4, question 4, where we were. That is a question of further processing decision. Should we process further or should not process? Yeah, which you did in a topic of process costing. So with that, we now move to huyu mwingine anaitwa budgeting. I'm wondering whether we can run continuous. Can we take a break of like 10 minutes? 7:20. Then we run for 2 hours. So that even in the recording, I don't mix the topics. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So for those who are online, I hope you are getting that. Brian, Not Brian. Brian alitoroka. We have Rachel and Beryl. Yeah, so I want to end this lesson so that the records. Then we'll be back at 7:30 to some 2 hours. The topic of budgeting.